quick advice would you have for professionals or you too, right? I mean, you even want three if you have.
Yeah, I think so. One advice that you actually did mention was LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you can't use LinkedIn enough, especially when you're looking for jobs and you're on the market. As recruiters, we're on LinkedIn all the time. So that's where we find candidates to place in jobs and whatnot. So you can't, like, I can't emphasize the importance and the use of LinkedIn, especially coming in, even for people who live here. Like everyone uses LinkedIn. When you're looking for a job, you're open to work, you're reaching out to recruiters, you're connecting with recruiters that are in the field as well. So that's one thing, using LinkedIn, but make sure that, obviously, like you mentioned, your brand, your personal brand is so important on LinkedIn. Obviously, yes, we're recruiters, but we look at, when I look at candidates, obviously every recruiter is different, but when I look at candidates, I look at how does their page look, how they presented their, the experience, their work experience, and also obviously having your CV. Some people opt to put your CV on LinkedIn. That's personally up to you. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it makes life easier for the recruiter that's looking for you, especially when you're on the market. So I'll say if you can put obviously don't put your address on your LinkedIn. That's something that people should do. And also, I always discourage putting your picture on your CV. So that's just a waste of the point. So don't put your address on your CV. You can just put the area that you live and whatnot. But yeah, so that's good. That goes back to my point of putting your CV on your LinkedIn and making sure that your CV is very well presented, making sure that your responsibilities are very clear. As a recruiter, I'm not reading someone's CV who's just writing line after line. There's no space, there's no bullet points. You're just writing. I worked as this. I did this. Yeah, I think we need to get out of that mindset of just writing and just listing the things that we've done. What did you achieve? Did you go into a company? Maybe you're a credit controller, for example, in a bank. That's just an example. I think credit controllers, they go inside the banks to clear debt. What was the percentage of debt that you cleared? Be more, in your responsibilities that you're listing, be more clear. If you went in there with a purpose, what was the purpose and what did you achieve? That's what we want to see. We don't want to know the responsibility because everybody's doing that, right? We don't just want to know what you've done. We want to know what you achieved. We want to know, when you went into the company, what was the state of the company and how did you kind of minimize the problem or solve the problem that you were calling to do. And another thing, sorry, just really quickly, is the job boards. Make sure you're utilizing all job boards. There's so many. There's CV Library, there's Read, obviously depending on your field, so there's eFinancial, there's I'm trying to think, there's so many, there's Monster Jobs, there's
Jobs,
and there's Total Jobs as well. There's so many, indeed, there's so many. Just make sure that you maximize every single job board that you have. And one thing that I do want to say as well, if you have a visa, mention that. If you're looking for sponsorship, make sure you mention that as well, because what you don't want is a recruiter calling you, and it's a waste of time for you and the recruiter. When you know you need sponsorship, rather than shying away from the fact that you need it, put it on your CV already, so they know that if they're calling you, it's a recruiter that can help you with sponsorship, right? Make it very clear. But yeah, I'll say maximize LinkedIn. Make sure your CV is clean, make sure that your CV looks well, and make sure you maximize all the job boards in the camera.
Thank you very much. I've got 2 questions from that, but I'll move quickly to Ufoma. And that's because the UK is a hub for educational academics. So there are a lot of opportunities within this sector. Matter of fact, there's statistics around how the teaching population in the UK, particularly for higher education, are mostly migrants among British citizens. For someone looking to grow his career within the academics, what would be your top 1 or 2 advice for someone who wants to grow his career within the academics?
Thank you for that. I think it's to keep an open mind. It depends on the field you're in. So if it's something that's sellable, for example, I'm not saying other careers are not sellable, but if it's a field that is sellable, like a net zero, environmental sustainability, maybe something around health and well-being, mental health, that kind of thing, nursing, something that will get the numbers up as much as possible. Try and collaborate with other researchers or other people in higher education institutions try and publish if you are actually a researcher. So if you want to go in terms of maybe becoming a professor, becoming a senior lecturer, lecture, publish as much as you can, get out there and then put your work in your CV. So it could be an online one, it could be a physical one, but always make sure that what you've done is there and how you did it. So not just what you did, like you said, not just putting, oh, advertise here, taught here. How did you do it? When you came in, what was there? And by the time you left, what impact did you make? So it's just research, put yourself out there and collaborate with both your kind and externals as well.
Okay, great. So I'll come back to you, Yinka, and that's around dealing with biases. You said people should not have their pictures in their CV, and you said you should indicate if in the sponsorship, and that could go two ways. I mean, so could you talk a bit about biases and dealing with biases as an applicant?
With the pictures, I think it's just based on my own personal view and what I've heard other people say about it. Usually, which obviously shouldn't be the case, but in most cases, that's what we've encountered. When we've seen a candidate with their picture on their CV is not great. That's the kind of, that's already completed in our mind. So I think just to be on the safe side, like, I mean, people say they put it on your CV just because obviously you don't want to be biased. Unfortunately, in this day and age, that's what we have to deal with, right? There are people that are racist, there are people that discriminate. I wouldn't say don't put it on there just because obviously my reasoning is not because of the bias reason. I think my reasoning is just because your picture doesn't need to be in your CV. It doesn't need to be. I think just showing your credentials and showing you can do the job, I think that's enough. And what was the second thing you said?
Yeah. So asking the second question for those who will be listening after now.
Yeah.
Do you think that indicating that you need sponsorship on your CV could be a blocker? So some people, I mean, I've had this mindset in the past also where you want to get into the door, right? And so anything that could limit your chance of getting into the door, you want to move it. And indicating your sponsorship, just thinking as a layman, could that be a showstopper?
Definitely not. I think it's even better for you because number one, you're not getting recruiters calling you every day, and it's the same story. Or sorry, you don't offer sponsorship. Like my agency, for example, we don't tend to work with roles that have that with companies or roles that offer sponsorship. So whenever I speak to candidates, because it's a thing for me as well, I call them, on the phone for like 10-15 minutes, and at the end of the call, and sometimes I forget to ask them at the beginning, okay, so what's your right to work? And then they say, oh, I have sponsorship. So it's that disappointment, speaking to for both sides. It's like, especially when they're really good and the experience is very good. For the person obviously looking, they think they found the perfect job. I've obviously sold the job to them just to find out they don't have it. I think just for you to limit the disappointment on the candidate side is so important. Just so you know that the recruiters that are calling you are the ones that have the sponsorship. And yes, unfortunately, it might be limited because not a lot of companies are willing to pay for sponsorship. But I think even with that, that's where you need to go an extra step. Putting yourself, like put it on your LinkedIn feed. Number one, actually, before you put it on your LinkedIn feed, actually have recruiters that you need, because if you're posting it, you have anyone, you're not reaching anyone, right? So connect with people. Like you don't have to connect to people that you know. Just like you mentioned earlier about reaching out to people on LinkedIn, just connecting with recruiters that are in the space that you want to go into or that are in the field, connecting them like as much as possible. Some might respond, obviously, some might not. Connecting as much as possible. Have like following to some extent, but they would really look at that. And then putting your feed, okay, this is what I'm looking for, I'm on the market, I require a role that requires sponsorship, so on and so forth. So I think definitely it doesn't limit you. I think if anything, it helps you and it stops disappointments, because the conversations over and over again will get tiring, will get disappointing, will get draining. So just to cut all of that out.
Right. We've got a few minutes left, but I'll ask you the next question around around the STAR approach. And this is off the point where you mentioned to highlight your core achievements and not just what you've done. So how do applicants understand what the STAR approach is? Is it
yes,
situational, tasks, action, and results. So could you speak a bit more about this just in 1 minute?
Okay. I think with the STAR, I mean, that's what I think that one, it doesn't need to be in your CV. I think that's what you need to be aware of when you're going into an interview.
Right.
When I prep candidates, that's what I'm telling them. Because I try not to overemphasize it too much, because then it confuses some candidates. They're not used to it. When they're remembering the star in the interview, they'll mess up because they're trying to remember it. So how I simply put it is, when you're explaining, if they've asked you a question, tell me about a time you've done something. This is just an example. You want to mention what they want to know. Everyone has done it. What they want to know is, give me an example of when you did it. This in this role in so this is what I carried out. This was the task at hand. This is how I did it. Did you do it with the team? Did you do it on your own? This was the results that I achieved. So I think just when I put it that way, take note from this. Obviously, yes, the STAR technique. Always give evidence to whatever questions they ask. Always give the evidence. Always give the proof that you've done it before. Mention when you've done it. Mention what you achieved, how you carried it out, and what was the results, basically. So I think that's the STAR technique summed up. So some punches, then think, okay, I need to remember this, or just remember. I need to
confused.
I need the evidence. They want to hear the evidence. What they want to know how I did it. What the result. Did I achieve it? Did I succeed? If I failed, what did I learn? Taking it into the next round and then making it better and turning it around. That's what they want to know.
Thank you. So for I'm going to ask around volunteering opportunities within the academic space, right, as a way to grow your career, right? And feel free to talk about opportunities within the University of Suffolk, where you represent in some way. So for people who want to grow their career within academics, right, could you talk about how we can leverage volunteering activities and what opportunities come from that?
Okay, I think it has to start, I believe it has to start with so when you're growing your career, of course, not every opportunity will be a paid role. So keep an open mind. It could be a student ambassadorship role, it could be student mentorship, it could be mentoring other new intakes and all that. So keep a very open mind. Be aware that your first few roles may not be paid. Like you said, the first 5 to 4 years, 4 to 5 years of your business, you may not make profit. So those first few opportunities as an employee will not be paid roles. So keep an open mind. That's one. And try to create impactful change, regardless of the role you find yourself, regardless of what you're doing. Try to impact. Be a student, it could be a department, it could be maybe as a junior lecturer or something. But whatever you do, always keep it at the back of your mind that you're trying to create a legacy for more international students, more international intake, more people of color, whatever it is. But just put yourself out there to create more positive change. And I think never think anything you do is too small. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big goal, like I've said, but regardless of what it is, somebody's watching. There's always a bigger eye somewhere. Somebody's observing what you've done, or they can call you tomorrow to give a talk or whatever it is on that particular thing you've done. So be as diligent and as pragmatic as possible to deliver to the best of your abilities.
Thank you. So for the University of Suffolk, I guess
yes, for us here, we have a number of roles. So we have the student ambassadorship roles, where Shula might start it from. We have those. We have mentorships. We have.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I just use you as an example. That's why.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry. No, but there's that. Then I myself, I started as a graduate research assistant. So that was also an unpaid role. So I came from Coventry. Coming here, I was thinking I'll just come up, and of course from Coventry I have like a small thing people would hold on to. But coming here, I'm like, okay, it's a smaller university, but it doesn't change anything. You have to start from the scratch. It doesn't mean that's where everyone would start from, but there's that, there's the ambassadorship, there's the, I think the, what's it called? So like, for disabled students here at the university, we have people who could help them with note copying, taking of notes, helping them to get to their classes, to like take them around. So it's different from ambassadorship. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head, I can't remember. But you have other students too that will also help take students around. So we have those as well. Then in terms of research, in the research directorate, we have opportunities where you could act as an intern researcher. So you're not a PhD student, you're not a postgraduate student. You could be an undergraduate student or even someone from outside the university, just trying to get experience within that field. So yes, all four, those are what currently have been listed.
Okay, great. I'd like to just throw this open to the audience. I know a couple of people here, different experiences, and I know of some people who have transitioned to new careers recently. Already, I know you got that's in your balance. Yeah, so do you mind just sharing? I learned to work with Virgin Media or Virgin Group. Yeah, I mean that's a big deal. Do you mind just share with me what it looks like to get your role? For two reasons, to inspire somebody here and for those who will be watching this, right, to say you can get a role in any organization and there are no limits to where you can go. So if you could speak to us, yeah?
Thank you very much.
Just 2 minutes?
2 minutes, okay. The journey from where I was to where I wanted to be, right? It's not linear,
Yeah.
and I really would not come here with full confidence to say that this is the right approach. So it could work either ways. But there is a fine trait that ties through whatever approach, and that is determination, consistency, and you dotting your I's and crossing your T's across all levels in terms of making impact in whatever field, and really putting yourself into doing the job. And it's a mix of everything that has been said right now, having the right CV, and mixing and matching the different high points of the points of the CV, and getting rid of, a friend of mine said, getting rid of some anomalies, right, in your CV that seemed to work for you in your own country, but getting into a new space, right, align your CV with the offerings available in the industry. And that's something that you can never get right. You would always have to reinvent how you speak about yourself in your CV, and also using LinkedIn, which I use like very well, and setting yourself on the right foot for that interview, because it will come in whatever shape, form, or size. When I went back.
It's 2 minutes already, but yes. Yeah, thank you. Let's round up those for him. It's a long journey I cannot be contained in 2 minutes. But yes, for Sam, my question to you is a bit different, and that's because I know about your experience in the corporate world and in business. Like we say in our local parlance, if I repeat of both, you came into the country about 4 or 5 years back? Okay, 4 years back. So could you tell me about your experiences, across the professional side of things and business, particularly to see how you overcame challenges? This would be helpful to people who.
Yeah, that's right. Once again, it's been nice to sit with people of great minds, and coming out to make the main question there is, I've always been business-minded individual, where, of course, my brother back here knows me back home in Nigeria, and I've always been determined about being this successful businessman here. But then again, just like what Olivia just said, there are some norms you feel like in your own country, like the way you do things. Radio here in the UK is definitely, or probably in Western world, is probably different. So I came here for my masters. During my masters, what I told myself was, let me leave what I've learned, so why I knew in Nigeria, like unlearn that and relearn.
Yeah.
So now this goes down to the professional aspect of me in the UK. So I was doing my masters. I enrolled into different trainings. Like, the best investment anyone can give to yourself is invest in yourself. Trainings. I did trainings on business analysis. I did trainings on project management. I did trainings on data analytics. Most of these trainings that I did, I paid for everything. So I just see people and they just say, because most times when people like they know, okay, I've been here for a while, you know my experience and they want to like, I'm happy to give you advice, but what I'll just tell you, check it currency, and you be like, oh, this is
That's a big error.
so yeah, that's a big error you make, yeah. So I did all these trainings, yeah. Then after the training, definitely I started looking out for applying for jobs, and the job isn't just coming out easy and then so what I did was I had to volunteer, like going into like, and you have any project and you can't get paid. I did work as a business analyst, data analyst without getting paid. But all this, while I was doing all this, also I forgot to mention did digital marketing also. So which certified member of Digital Marketing Institute in the UK. So with all this here, mind you, like it's one thing you're going to reading a course here, and it's another thing knowing the practical aspects. So you might not be good theoretical, but when you get on set, like in real life, or you might fumble. So me volunteering helped me a lot. Even I had to go and write, like most of the certifications I did was just that I passed was as a result of the experience. Because each time I'm writing some of the exams like this, and you ask a question, I'm like, the knowledge of me knowing this answer wasn't from what I read, it was what I did in real time in real life. Yeah. So that's the summary about the professional aspect of it. It's about you investing in yourself. I think there's a lot of words that I'm talking about how to build your online personal LinkedIn whatnot. So my own thing is just about investing in yourself. Before, if you build your LinkedIn persona, build everything, and you don't have something to there to do. You don't have this. You don't fumble, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as an HR, like, no matter how you go and memorize or cram or whatever, and somebody is there, as an HR or whatever, you're reaching out to him. Next thing, there are some HR said that like, some of them I don't like, oh, you're nodding as if you're getting the job. I don't know if they send you an email. I'm afraid, unfortunately. So stuff like that. Yeah. So the best thing is invest in yourself, and don't just come with a mindset. Just be open-minded, like what some of the speaker said. Like, be open to accept this non-paid roles. It gives you that experience. That is it, and you can add that on your personal. So let me now talk about that's just a professional bit, the business bit. Sorry for taking time here because I'm so I carry that as a camel here. I like talking more about the business. Right? So the business bit here, I would just hear like bro here also spoke on this, said a lot here, which I agree to, but I'm going to buttress more because this resonates with me personally here. I'm going to purchase more regulations. This is the UK. You can't, no matter what you're doing, like even though you're doing an online trade or you're doing whatever, you just have to check what business you're doing, do your account, you make sure you're paying your tax, you're paying everything. Why I said this resonates to me personally was a business partner of me, like sometime last year. He was, so now if not because the guy is a bit strong or so, but he's almost close to declaring bankrupt because he had a case with the court and everything, like he seized about £250,000 from him. This is like you've been doing where you went wrong, but you've been running business successful, I mean successful business. It runs like a jewelry line here. So meeting with, and again, you know you're doing this and you're going to the media, you're going to the media house here, and you see, at the time, think was he Forbes was the youngest black entrepreneur in the whatever. You're going to the Forbes, your name is on the meeting. One thing is, with this skin color,
you need to be extra careful.
You have to be extra careful because the agencies are just on you. The fact that aside from the skin color, just because you're being on media, the agencies, the taxman is there wanting to see, your track because you've made mention that your last year, whatever you made was about 500,000 or 1 million. So where is the tax? Where is this? What did you give? Where did you run it? So you get so let's just no matter the business you're running into, know the governing rules within it. This is not like where we're coming from where you can beat anything. You just have to know the rules within that aspect of them. Your account, especially accounting bits. You need to keep your books intact. So that's
I
it.
think that's a great one. Yeah. But I think without telling media, and that's particularly because Benga has not stopped for himself telling an investment team in Nigeria, and then he's doing so. In 1 minute, like 1 minute, could you just tell me how you transition? I'm doing this on purpose because I know this is going to go. People will learn from this. Those who cannot come around, so you need to pick your brain around how. Within less than 6 months, you got your first one in the UK in the investment sector. So, one or two things you think can you get that someone should learn from?
Yes, so I think they basically said some of the things I've said. It's all about determination and then having a plan. Coming to the UK, I had a plan actually. I told myself, okay, the first 6 months, these are my expectations. And then when I came in, I just as we learned it to be as good, talk to people, have a community, spoke with Emmanuel, had some of the things that are applicable here in the country. Just as you said, in Nigeria, I was actually heading an investment, and I know that coming here, you might not probably get that you wanted. So what I actually focused on was actually reaching out to those recruiters on LinkedIn. LinkedIn was actually a very good instrument I used in getting my roles there. And I recall that I got my first call a week later, and the job I was called for was the customer care role. And I got there and then I did interview, and the guy told me I was going to start on Monday. I said, what's the job about? He told me I'm going to be knocking door to door to ask if they actually needed products. I said, no, I'm not going to do this because by skin color alone, it's a disadvantage to me where no one's probably going to do me. And then, 1 month down the line, the company I worked with just called me and they said, oh, they saw my CV and looked nice, am I interested in joining the company? I said, yeah. So they asked if I was going to be chanced for interview that week. And I told them, I don't have anything doing. Why not tomorrow? And they said, tomorrow is just too. I said, give it to me tomorrow. And I took the night reading about the company because I was like, there was nothing you could ask me about that product. I don't know. So what I need to focus on was on the company. And I read about that company all to the night. And guess what? When I got to the interview panel, what actually
Spotted me out
was what I told them about the company. And the guys told me on the text, the interviewers told me, they only gave me less than 24 hours for this interview. And what I told them about this company, nobody I ever told them about that. And that was basically what gave me the job. And I used to tell people that it's not just about getting a job in the UK. Where I work today, 6 of us came in on the same day. After 6 months, it was only myself and another Nigerian guy that was left in the company. And this speaks to the fact that we Nigerians, we are actually very resilient. We actually know how to fit in quickly. But all we just need to do is, when you have that discipline and determination, you are able to get home. When I came into the company, I looked at what they were doing, and I was like, what these guys are doing, one of us are doing that as a team. It's not what 2 of us or 3 of us are doing. What we are looking for. And I sat down and I asked myself that what should I do to make me go find this company. And what I told myself is, I'm going to raise up my hand. When they need people to volunteer for projects, when they need people to do stuff, and most of these guys, they really don't want to do that. So what I want to do is just to come to the office, and then after close of business, we go and do to So I remember there was a time someone left my team, and my boss sent an email, who is going to take this responsibility. I resumed work that day 1 p.m. Other guys have been in the office since 7:30, and no one took up the responsibility. As soon as I came in, I took up the responsibility, and I told my boss I was going to do it. And in doing all of these things, I realized that first and one, my boss realized I'm the kind of person that I like to do more. So it's not just about getting a job, it's all about consistently giving to the people that are giving you the job that yes, they have indeed made the right decision. But when I saw the email that the HR personnel sent to me, there was a word he used, she used, he said, they found me perfect fit for this job. I don't want to disappoint this set of people that will give you this job. So, in fact, it's not just about getting the job, it's also considering yes, so that you keep excelling and then keep
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. Very final words from our speakers, but I want to do something special. I want to hear from the photographer because it's on purpose, right? I mean, these things are documented. I know also his experience around. To be honest, it's one of the persons I also reached out to when I moved to the UK. So we're not hiding behind the camera. Yes, just hear from you. But this time around, 1 minute should be 1 minute. So if you want to say. Round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much for that opportunity. I don't know why I put him in the spotlight, honestly. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll just talk about how I started my photography business in the UK. It was, back in Nigeria, I used to do videography, but not shooting. It was just about post-production. But as soon as I came into the UK, apparently it was like maybe 1 minute 30 seconds. So I joined my local church. I joined the choir ministry, and I have very vast experience in media as well, and digital marketing as well. So then the pastor then reached out to me and said that there's a need in the media team, and that he would love it if I left choir, the choir administration, and come to the media team. And I thought about it. I spoke with my wife, and my wife was like, there are so many people in the choir, right? Just go to the media team. 3 months down the line when I joined, I became the head of the media team. And I'll not leave out God factor. God used me to actually transform the media production and media outfit in that church. And that was where it dawned on me that I can actually start my photography and videography business here in the UK. I started in February. In short, my very first shot of my photo shoot was not with my camera, it was the church camera, but with the church permission. And here I am today. I cannot, honestly, there was a time I was looking back and I was like, okay, I'm not going to lie, God has actually been faithful. One thing about me is that I invested a lot in training myself with regards to photo shoot editing, videography as well. I knew a lot of videography, but I still needed to make sure that I should be up there. You understand? I'm not just going to be like the normal videographer that you know, the normal photographer that you know that does photo shoot and all of that. So I invested a lot. I had guys in Nigeria that I would pay 100,000, 200,000 just to learn some kind of thing that seems like basics, right? But you can't rule out those basics, just like the video we watched first about Black Mamba, right? So I think for me, it's just about investing more in ourselves. And everybody has said almost the same thing, really. Investing more, putting yourself out there more. I make sure that I put myself out there more, and I make sure that I have this very, very cordial relationship with my clients. Not the type that they would abuse. I make sure that that line is drawn. But that cordial relationship makes them refer me to different people. I can tell you that just thinking about 2 people. I can tell you how many times in a week I'll get calls from different people that I do not know about. And they say, someone give me your number, someone give me your number. And I think Raphael have actually done a lot for me. So thank you very much.
I just remember something what he said. So I recall that when I was about to get this job and when I was doing these background checks, I got to know this country in September 2023, just 1 year. And I got this job in October. In November, that was 2 months. And I recall that Peter was asking me what I was doing for 2 months. And I was like, 2 months? Why would you be asking me what I was doing for 2 months? And then I recall that in the church I attended, the church I was going to learn, I was assisting in the media. And I just put that in, because there was no way to have submitted that was putting everything in that spot. I can't believe that they sent an email to the church just to confirm that I was working at it. I was actually working as a media team. It's also to find something to do, just like you said. I'm volunteering, just sit down and feel because job you're looking for hasn't come. I'm volunteering just to get engaged so that when the time comes and you need to fill in that space, you have something to fill.
Thank you. So one more.
I think everyone has said it, to be honest. I think put yourself out there. Don't limit yourself. Like definitely put yourself out there on LinkedIn. Like maximize everything that you, all the resources that you have. And I'll say like have like 3 recruiters that you have relationships with. It's so key. I think they make it easy and they open that door for you that you wouldn't usually get when you're going directly to the employer, because they probably have 700s of applications. They're not going through that. The HR people are not going through that. But we as recruiters, we're that middle person. We're probably sending like 3 or 4 candidates to the clients. So I'd say definitely like put yourself with 3, 4 at most. I'll say maybe 4 is a bit much, but 3, 4 recruiters that you could go back to all the time to like help with jobs and stuff. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, it has to be create positive change. You don't know what you're doing there. You're standing in as the Nigerian representative, the Caribbean representative, the international student representative. So do as much like you're doing it for your job yourself. Always do that, create that change, and know that somebody is looking from behind and the person is hoping to you for something.
Absolutely. Great way to end. Thank you so much. So the BIE group is waiting for us to perform.